Yeah, well, one example I can cite is that we agreed at the special Japan-ASEAN Summit in December 2023. We reached an agreement with ASEAN that we will cooperate in the particular policy space, which is countering disinformation. And we recently held an online workshop on countering disinformation with 5 ASEAN countries. And I think we just began this initiative just to exchange assessments on the disinformation landscape, and there is a wide variety of views in the region. So I think our efforts are still nascent, and we just, but I think it's important that all the countries in the region share the view that all of us are facing the threats coming from foreign information manipulation and disinformation.
Yeah. Yeah, this is as I said, a new issue for collaboration among allies and like-minded states in Asia. I mean, it's a contrast with NATO and Europe, for example, where there's some years of history of multilateral and alliance cooperation, partly rooted in the fact that there's a clear common threat in that theater that is not quite the same in the Indo-Pacific. So that's a complicating factor. But when thinking about U.S.-Japan cooperation in this space, the two governments signed a memorandum of cooperation in December that set out kind of a broad framework of what we might do together. Can you talk a little bit about that? How is Japan thinking about cooperation with the United States on this issue?
I think in the bilateral context between the U.S. and Japan, I think it's important that we exchange assessments on the disinformation landscape in the region as well as at home as well. And I think we can learn from each other, the methodology of identifying disinformation campaigns, as well as how to counter those disinformation campaigns, and plus, I think we can also pursue the possibility of reaching out jointly to partners in the region, such as Southeast Asia. We've already commenced some efforts in this policy space, but we can do some joint efforts.
And do you see sort of capacity building in third countries, maybe in Southeast Asia, related to, for example, media literacy or fact checking, or how do you see that cooperation in other countries taking concrete form?
Well, I think. Well, I would not like to portray our joint efforts as capacity building, because I assume there is some capacity already in the region, and I think it's important for my government and for the government of the United States, it's important for us to cooperate, building networks of experts, think tankers, and to share common threat assessments rather than us providing capacity building.
Yeah, this is such a complex issue set with so many different stakeholders, right? You think about the media landscape, the role of technology and disinformation, the role, as you said, of non-governmental organizations, the role of governments, multiple stakeholders. It's a problem that's quite different from most foreign policy issues that we wrestle with. So quite an interesting area for cooperation. How do you think about cooperation with other close U.S. and Japan partners? For example, the Republic of Korea, Australia. I know in the Camp David announcements last August, there was reference to trilateral cooperation in this space. How are you thinking about that?
Well, I think there is a lot of opportunities for the United States and Japan to collaborate with like-minded partners in the region, such as Australia. Australia has a long history of handling foreign information manipulation and as well as political interference by foreign malign actors. And I think it's important that like-minded partners align their efforts and in our engagement with the region, and share experiences with regional partners, our experiences of handling foreign information manipulation. I think disinformation campaigns by foreign malign actors take different forms in each of our countries. And I think sharing experiences with regional partners in the region is really essential in combating disinformation.